Welcome back to the podcast, Catch It, A New Perception. I hope that everything in your world is comfortable today, in the sense that you don't have the uncomfortability that you once had, that when you sit quiet, you're at peace, that when you get an opportunity to listen to this podcast, you hear what you need to hear. You hear it in a way that you need to hear it. Today, thinking about connections that we have. How do we get connected? And what does it mean to have connections in our life? Do we have the ability to be able to get connected to people, to the universe, Mother Earth, the Creator, that mystery? Do we have an opportunity, and do we want to get connected? When we have connections with people, is it what we're looking for? Is it possible that being connected is what we look for in this lifetime over anything else? If we live for memories and emotions, and we have the ability to be able to live for memories and emotions, if that is really what we're living for, is connection the biggest part of that? When you've not felt connected, is it where you are the most irritable, discontented, when you're disconnected? Have you had connections in your life that were only for moments, only glimpses, not that true, deep self-connection? Things that just seem to be connected for a moment, things that were brief. It felt like a connection because it felt good at the time. And then you realize there was no true connection because it was just a euphoric feeling. What is the difference, whether that's with a person that you're in an intimate relationship, maybe your significant other, someone that you've been in a relationship with in the past, your significant other? It felt like a connection, and it was just some type of euphoric feeling, something that wasn't actually that great of a connection. How do we differentiate? What is it that we want? Do we want this connection? Does it satisfy everything that we need? I think about how I get connected, how I'm connected to my wife, how I'm connected to my kids. And our children are adults, so we have a couple of grandchildren, and how I'm connected to our grandchildren. The beautiful thing for me is that I am connected to each one of my grandsons differently. I am connected to each one of our sons differently than one another. Our daughters, again, I am connected to each one of our kids differently than one another, because I will honor each of them as a unique manifestation of Creator. So my relationship and my connection to each one of them is different. Not that one's deeper than the other, because I don't believe that's true. It's about being able to get connected, for them to feel that connection. And then that relationship becomes desired more. The problem I had is I had false ideas of what a connection was. When I was younger, I used to like to get loaded. And when I was getting loaded, I felt connected to the people around me through that substance that I reached out to for that false idea of connection. I felt connected to, use alcohol for an example. I felt connected to the drink, and I felt connected to the people that I drank with. And when that substance wasn't there, when that alcohol wasn't there, I didn't have that connection. Because I didn't have the connection to the alcohol, I didn't have the connection to the people around me the same either as when we commune together with that drink. So is that really a connection, or is that just a euphoric feeling that I want to create the idea of it being a connection. For me, being connected is a really big deal. Being connected to the people that I'm close to, some people that I work with, some people that I sit in sacred circles with. The connection with my mother, the connection with my siblings, whatever that may be, they're important to me. I try to let them know. I let them know that when we talk on the phone because we don't have the chance to be able to see each other on a regular basis because we don't live near each other, that connection is important to me. Might be talking about what's going on in our lives today. We might be catching up briefly on how things were in the recent past or possibly in the distant past. And all of those draw a line of connection for me. What I'm trying to encourage you to do is recognize connection in your life. Realize how much you want it or don't want it, and what's important to you. My connection to the Creator and my connection to Mother Earth is really important. My connection to Mitakuye Oyasin, all of my relations. I believe that I'm connected to nature. I believe that I'm connected to all living things. I believe that that spark from that fire is part of me. That flame I am connected to when we start that sacred fire. That water that flows by in that large river, or one of those great lakes that you walk up to and you stand on the shore of. I stand there with my grandson. He's about to start school, a wee one. And we look at this great body of water that we call Lake Superior, Gitchagumi. And I ask him, have you ever been in that water? Oh, no. He's almost in awe of his relationship and his connection to this. People live up on that north shore by that great body of water and have a hard time leaving and moving somewhere else because of their connection to it. People grow up in the city and either feel connected to that city or don't feel connected to that city, and they want to either stay or leave because of that lack of connection, or stay because of that connection. At what point do we become conscious of who we're connected to? What we're connected to? How important is it to us? Do we want to stay connected? Do we want to change that? I find that I sit in these sacred circles that are very important to me, that have helped me change my life, and I feel connected. Now, sometimes when I leave that ceremony and I come home, I feel disconnected because of where my head wanders to. And then I reach out to one of those people I did that ceremony with, and I feel connected again. So I can be as disconnected or as connected to people and to life as what I want to be. I can be connected to the city that I live in and want to live here and have the connection that I'm looking for. Or if I don't feel that connection, I want to move and be somewhere else. What is it that someone that's a vagabond or a gypsy gets connected to? Is it the next thing that's coming up? Is it a connection? I don't know. I don't live that lifestyle. The reason I asked the question is because if we live a certain place and we're connected to it, we live near that great lake or any lake, or we live on a river and we feel connected to that body of water, that's where we want to live. We live in that small town, that very small community, and we feel connected to all the people that we grew up with. We don't really want to move. This is where we want to be because we feel connected. If you don't feel connected in that situation, you may want to move. If you have a church or some type of place where you go to pray and be part of a community, how connected do you feel? If you feel like you're connected, does it make you want to stay? If you don't feel that connection, does it make you want to find a different church, a different group of people? You have social outings and you go out with friends and you feel connected. Maybe you and your spouse go out and you have a half dozen people or a half dozen couples that like to get together and go out, and you feel connected and you enjoy doing it, your spouse enjoys doing it, and you continue to do it. And all of a sudden one couple decides they can't make it this month. And then the following month they're busy and they're not able to make it. Did they get busy because the kids are growing up and they have things to do on that given day? Or do they not feel the connection they hoped they could? Or do they not feel the connection that they see with other people there? So you sit in these sacred circles, whatever they may be, whether that's a church, whether that's a ceremony, or whether that's any other circle that you may sit in. Do you have a connection to it? Some people like the idea of seeing a therapist or group therapy or different things like this. Do you have a connection? If you don't have a connection, is that why you seek a different therapist? Because you want to have that connection and you don't have it? Or do you have that connection and is that why you stay? The reason I put most things into question form here in this podcast is because it's things worth looking at. If you feel a connection, you will probably get closer and you will continue. If you don't feel that connection, if that connection got broken, you may step back. Sometimes people will step back because they feel like their trust got broken, their faith got broken, their connection got broken, was broken. In some fashion, that connection is not what it was. I don't trust that person. I don't see it the same anymore. I can't believe what they said to me. So all of a sudden that connection is not the same. We begin to think and feel different. We begin to distance ourselves, and then we wonder what they did, even though we were the ones that disconnected. We were the ones that stepped back. We were the ones that made that decision. So if I want to be part of, I must be able to find a way to feel connected by taking the right action so that I think the right way so I can be part of. Being connected to the Creator, to Mother Earth, to all my relatives, to my immediate family, is very important to me. And I'm going to work on getting connected. I'm going to work on staying connected. I'm going to work on being part of to the best of my ability today. Looking forward to next time. Live in harmony with and use the bounty of the land to bring kindness to the world. Doksha. Okay.